All right. Just want to do a quick update on this. So I've got potatoes all through this bed. Here, bigger. This is the potato bed that I've done a couple videos on. But along this edge, I had put in a couple of sweet potatoes. And I just noticed today, I've got slips starting to come up. Sweet potato slips. So I'll be able to harvest those sweet potato slips and move them over here and plant them along this trellis. I had tried planting beans here and tomatoes here. Some of the tomatoes are still here, but my chickens attacked it. The day after I put the beans in, the chickens dug everything out of here. It looks like I've got something coming up right there, and they missed a couple of the white beans right down here on the end. But everything else all along there, the chickens tore it up. So what I'm going to do is when these sweet potato slips get big enough, I'm going to pull them out and put them along this trellis. And we'll see how sweet potatoes do in the hugelkultur bed. Anyways, next thing I wanted to say is this summer squash is good. It's a little bit inconsistent in the size and shape as far as the yellow squash goes, but we just cooked up our first pan of it for the year. And you can see there's a couple more that are getting close to being ready to pick. So summer squash season started. We are starting to get summer squash out of the garden, and I'm hopeful. See, there's a couple more. Anyways, I'm hopeful the summer squash will continue for several months, and well, I'm sure by the end of the summer, we will probably be sick of summer squash. So we did. We ate 4 zucchinis that were all bigger than that. Bigger than that one. Anyways, we've got a few more on here that are going to be ready in a couple days. You see another one back in there. But yeah, so we did 4 zucchinis and 6 yellow squash with dinner tonight, and just yeah, cooked them in the pan with some butter and salt and garlic. That was really good. Anyways, you can see these are the radishes I'd shown in earlier videos that were going to seed. Seed pods are formed really well on this radish. This is actually 2 radishes here. 3, I guess. I guess that's 3 radishes right there. 1 radish right there. And then all down that side, there's more radishes that have all gone to seed. So we're kind of waiting for these seed pods to dry out, and then I'm going to harvest a bunch of them. And I think what I'm going to use some of them for is kind of a cover crop in the pasture. Plant some of them. I've got one of my paddocks that I'm letting rest. Well, 2 of them I'm letting rest right now, and I've got the animals in the 3rd one. So another thing I want to see. Something new is coming up there. Not sure what. I guess we planted it over a month ago, and it's finally decided to come up. Talk about delayed germination or whatever. Yeah, like I planted those, whatever's there, I planted over a month ago, and it's just now coming up, because it's probably even been closer to 2 months since I planted it. I know there's a couple other things over on this side that just started coming up too. Oh, we got our first butternut squash forming here too. And strawberries are starting to form. They're flowering. You can see I've got 3 strawberries already growing right there. There's some weeds in the garden. There's some grasses. Cabbage, purple cabbage. Cabbage and broccoli are not really doing anything this year. They grew some decent stems, but they've never produced any heads yet on the broccoli, and a lot of leaves on the cabbage, but this is the only one so far that's started looking like it was going to form a head, and just a tiny little bit of one in there. So we'll have to see how it does. The weather's already getting hot. It was 90 degrees today here. It's supposed to be 88 tomorrow and 89 on Monday, and then Tuesday it's supposed to cool down a little bit again, so back down to around 80. So anyways, getting some stuff growing. Happy for what we are getting, and yeah, I guess I can't complain. I'm happy about what's growing, and not everything I've planted is growing, but enough of it is that we're eating out of the garden. Obviously not every meal all day, but not every meal every day anyways. But we're getting some food out of the garden, and this is the first year that these 3 garden beds have been in. These 4 actually. We got strawberries in this one and that one, so those are the perennials in these 2 beds. And then tomatoes, broccoli, cabbage, carrots in there too, radishes. We've already been eating a bunch of radishes out of it, and we've got other radishes that have gone to seed. And then, yeah, whatever's coming up here, and the sunflowers. And then in this bed, it's a lot of squash and strawberries. We've got summer squash, both the yellow straight neck and zucchini. There's some peas here coming up. A little more there. They're just starting to flower. These are the first couple of flowers I've seen on the peas. And this is butternut squash right there. There's watermelon right here. Watermelon here, peas there. Yeah. It's planted a little bit thick, but I wanted to make sure I planted it thick enough that it covered the ground and didn't leave very many bare spots. And I think I did pretty good with that. Right here's some more carrots. I had a rainbow carrot mix that was red, white, orange, a couple shades of orange anyways. It's like 4 different shades of carrots I planted in there. Sweet potato coming up right here. This is, yeah, I think that's sweet potato. I could totally be wrong about that. Anyways, I'll keep an eye on it. I think it's sweet potato. There was where the dirt came from for this garden. I had a compost pile here last year, and I had sweet potatoes in that compost pile that were growing. I did not get any of them harvested, and then I think that's where this sweet potato came from, because I didn't plant one there. But I think it just came from the compost pile from last year. Anyways, and then yeah, I had more tomatoes along this trellis, which just got planted out earlier this week. And yeah, and then the beans. So yeah, for those that think that they're just going to go grow a garden and live off of their garden and they're going to start eating as soon as they plant, that's never going to happen. It takes time to develop a garden. It takes a lot of work to just put in a garden bed and get it ready to grow. I mean, yeah, if you have a tiller, you can just till the ground and plant, but then you're weeding, you got to weed it or cover it, and it's, you know, gardening is a bit of work. It's not just, oh, I'm going to stick some seeds in the ground and grow something. It actually takes a bit of effort. And yeah, and as far as if we were relying just on this garden to eat, we'd be starving. We wouldn't have, you know, it's not producing nearly enough food for us to survive on, but it's starting to produce food. And eventually the goal is this area out here that's all grass is going to be more garden beds. We're going to be doing, my goal is to have about 12 of these hugelkultur beds that are, you know, 15 feet by 5 feet. Well, the first one's closer to 20 feet. This last one's 15 feet long. Yeah, but we're not just relying on the gardens for food. We have sheep, we have cattle, we have goats. You know, we still have beef in the freezer from the steer we had processed last year. So, you know, anyways, it's, yeah, when you're starting homesteading or planting a survival garden or whatever, you got to plan on it taking 3 months really before you start getting any food from it. And then once you start getting food, it's, you know, if you don't plant a whole bunch, it's not really going to be enough even when you start getting food. Yeah, it's, but anyways, I keep showing these garden videos. So one, so I can track the progress of the garden a bit, and you know, help others to understand that, you know, gardening it's fun, it's enjoyable, but it's a lot of work, and it's not something that just happens all at once. You know, you can't just put seeds in the ground one day and pick an entire meal worth of food the next from those seeds. You know, I mean, if you've had it growing for years and you're just constantly replanting and harvesting, and you can get a garden that keeps producing and keeps producing. And you know, this year we didn't even get any corn planted. I didn't have a space to put in any corn. I didn't get any other grains planted, but I got potatoes planted, and they've been doing pretty good. I've got tomatoes planted, and I haven't harvested a single one of them yet. I've got a few that'll be ready to harvest pretty soon. There's 3 decent sized tomatoes on this, on that vine right there, but they're showing a little bit of signs of damage, but they'll still be good. You know, a little bit of scarring on the tomatoes. Actually quite a bit on that one right there, but the one that's hidden under the leaves is a bit better. You know, that's the type of thing with the garden is, you know, it's good food, it's healthy food. You don't have to worry about all the chemicals and pesticides and herbicides you would get on your food at the grocery store. But it's not gonna, you know, first couple months you put in a garden, it's not gonna produce enough to sustain you. You've got to do the work to get in the garden and take the time to work it, and you know, build a good foundation for your garden. A good, like I did raised beds here, but I did them in a method that should get better over time instead of get depleted over time. And oh, sorry, not sure what. Oh, the neighbor's out there walking around and the dogs are barking at them. Anyways, yeah. Well, anyways, if you guys like these videos, please give them a like and share them and subscribe. So far we've been at this a little over a year on this channel and haven't been able to monetize any of our videos yet. We have enough subscribers to monetize, but not enough watch hours yet. And so I know I've done quite a few more YouTube shorts than I have long form videos, but most of the subscriber count actually has come from the YouTube shorts. And yeah, so you know, we're just, I think the last look I saw was about 1,068 subscribers, and we're at around 830 watch hours. But hopefully we'll get the watch hours in before too long and maybe start monetizing. Who knows? Whatever. It's just, it's not really for that. It's really just to, you know, share our experience with gardening and not just gardening, but homesteading in general. You know, everything involved, from the animals to the just taking care of the land that we have, and gardening. And I've done some videos with the trees, and you know, in the forest in the back, cutting some trees down, cutting up some firewood. Anyways, there's the sheep. They came over to, yeah, they got a little bit closer when the dog started barking. Well, I'm going to go ahead and end this one here. I was going to walk towards the back and check on my summer squash back there in the forest.